Peugeot might be a leading force in international endurance racing, but it's not the kind of brand you'd usually associate with sports cars. Or it wasn't, at least, until the arrival of the RCZ. The low-slung two-door is certainly a very attractive and very alluring car, and it's already changed perceptions of the brand. The RCZ looks more exclusive and more expensive than it really is, which means that value is also a powerful attraction. It shares many of its mechanicals with a highly successful 308 hatchback, which means it rides on well-sorted but uncomplicated suspension. At the same time, it's a lot wider and lower than the 308, which assists both the traction and the centre of gravity, suggesting that there's more to this coupe than those handsome curves and contours suggest. Talking of which, the RCZ is often compared to the Audi TT, but frankly, the Peugeot deserves better. These muscular haunches give the car a very aggressive stance, and the double bubble roof isn't only unique, but also a reference to the 908 endurance racer. Most of all, though, this is a very attractive car, and it's still a relatively rare sight on South African roads. There's a poised balance to the way the wheels fill the wheel arches, and the metallic C-pillars anchor the curved roofline. So, what makes this RCZ different? Well, it's powered by Peugeot's gutsy 2-litre turbo diesel engine instead of the 1600cc turbo petrol engine we've come to know and like so much in this application. And frankly, therein lies the rub. Don't get me wrong, Peugeot builds some of the best turbo diesel engines in the business, and this 2-litre HDI is no exception. It produces 120 kilowatts of maximum power and a crunching 340 newton meters of torque, meaning that this car will never run out of breath. However, the HDI powertrain is not a natural match for the RCZ. Yes, there's a lot of low-down shove, but because the engine starts losing its enthusiasm as it approaches 4,000 RPM, you're almost compelled to short shift to a higher gear. You'll also find yourself pulling off in second because the engine's urge is just too brutal in first, or staying in third gear through tight corners as there's loads of bottom end to pull you out. In other words, you end up driving the RCZ HDI with a certain reserve and circumspection that's completely at odds with the car's sporting character. Not that the RCZ is slow. It nips from 0 to 100 in 8.2 seconds and has a top speed of 220 kilometers an hour. The gear shift is nice and meaty, and even the steering feels positive and crisp under turn-in. But somehow it doesn't stir the soul like the petrol-driven RCZ does. The pragmatism of the turbo diesel is too overwhelming, and not even the terrific fuel consumption of just 5.3 litres per 100 kilometres in the combined cycle can make up for the diesel-induced bluntness. The rest of the package is pure RCZ, a 2+2 cockpit decked out in genuine leather with high-backed bucket seats offering plenty of support and clean, unambiguous ergonomics. The rear seats are good for toddlers only, but offer useful extra stowage, and the big tailgate opens wide to allow easy access to the spacious cargo compartment. The RCZ is undoubtedly Peugeot's most desirable current generation car, and that's mostly true of the diesel version as well. But a sports car deserves the flamboyance of a petrol engine, and while the HDI is clean and frugal, it simply lacks the sparkle and the outright pace of the petrol engine. In isolation, the 2-litre HDI is a great example of turbo diesel technology, mixing ample power and torque to refinement and economy. Add the sexy looks of the RCZ and a flair for fluid involving handling, and this should be a winner, yet somehow it lacks the sparkle of its petrol sibling.